3, 2, 1.
We'd like to welcome you to another edition of Grok Talk, brought to you by New Hampshire's leading conservative blog site, GraniteGrok.com. We are your feared, extremist, right-wing, hard-charging, gun-toting, opinionated, outspoken, rabble-rousing, letter-writing, radio, microphone stomping conservatives and rational libertarians. So get ready for more news and opinion you could only get from GraniteGrok.com.
Grok Talk.
Great thing to do on camera.
Yeah,
yes,
but I didn't do it on the air. Didn't do it on the air. Welcome
yes,
to Grok Talk.
you did it on the air, Steve.
I went, bleh. You like talking when I don't have your microphone on. Go ahead.
And this time Steve wasn't even pretending to mime the introduction.
I was not. I was not doing anything. I was just happy that everything appears to be working on my desktop now. I'm back in my comfort zone. My Grok Talk paradigm has been reestablished. So welcome back to the show. Welcome to our rocknhcr.com listeners. And we are live streaming. Hopefully, I won't know until I talk to the proprietor later and find out if it actually worked. But we were trying some things. Try to get, we were posting the show, and then he was rebroadcasting at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and then again on Monday. They have since picked up the Gerard at Large show. They're going to be broadcasting him 3 days a week. So mornings weren't available for us anymore, which is fine because I'm happy to see Mr. Richard Gerard. Mr. Gerard has more audience, which is amazing. So we were shuffling things around, and he was like, "Well, you use iTunes?" And I go, "Yeah, but I don't know. I don't know a lot of the other side of this. I know the front side, but not the back side." So he's like, "Well, we need to find a way to get the stream, and we can just broadcast you live." And I was like, "Yes, let's figure that out." So I'm poking around Spreaker trying to figure out where my RSS feed is and where the codes are and all this other garbage. And I sent him this thing, and I said, "Try this." And he says, "All right," and we're trying it. He said, "It looks good." So hopefully we're on the air.
That's cool.
But
and Rick Olson is still with us, and now we're not going to discuss procedures. We're going to discuss guns and stuff.
Yeah, the big news this week in the land of guns, I guess. Well, there's always lots of news, and there's always lots of. To get the real news, you got to get away from the actual news and dig around. But the story that caught our attention was bag searches at Regal Cinemas.
Regal Cinemas now has a policy whereby they are going to search bags. But what's important about this policy is not necessarily the bag search, but the fact that one party is getting searched and the other isn't. Okay.
Do tell.
Well, it's like on its face, it's bag searches. So if you have a diaper bag with you, if you have a purse, maybe guys that have backpacks, but I know a lot of guys that go to the movies and they don't bring backpacks. So in fact, going to the movies, I've never seen anybody with a backpack, unless they're up to no good. I don't know. But, guys don't get searched. Women get searched. That's how the policy operates.
Of course, so they'd hate us.
It's much more. It's much more hideous than its intent, because the intent is to keep weapons and dangerous people out of their theater. So, I mean, there's lots of people that are.
They're
going
not doing
to the movies.
pat-downs, though?
What's that?
They're not doing pat-downs.
Not doing pat-downs.
So
nope.
anybody who's carrying concealed would get in anyway.
Exactly.
So it's a stupid policy.
Let's just hang on a minute. How many of the recent mass shootings have been carried out by women with diaper bags?
0.
Correct.
Yeah.
They'll be putting in full body scanners pretty soon, and the movies will just be another reason not to go.
Oh, body scanners. Did you see that the TSA's body scanners are 96% failure rates?
And don't work worth a damn except for the outline of the women you're looking at.
So apparently what Regal Cinemas needs to implement is a douchebag search policy.
Right. Exactly. Well, the interesting thing behind all of this is Regal Cinemas, they had this backlash on all their social media, their Twitter, their Facebook pages, okay? This is a time and era when they can least afford to be alienating any portion of their customer base, okay? Because you have a lot of options. Hulu, Netflix. I mean, I have accounts on Hulu, Netflix.
Yeah, nobody's
Amazon Prime.
Nobody's searching me at the Red Box.
Yeah, Red Box, beautiful. Yeah,
and people have bigger and bigger screens, cheaper and cheaper at home, and they don't need to go to a cinema to get a big viewing angle.
Exactly. The movie comes out in theaters, and then all of a sudden 2-3 months later, you're getting it on Red Box or even on Comcast On Demand, and it's cheaper too. If if you buy a couple of movie tickets and you let them shake you down at the concessions for $8 for a bag of popcorn and $6 for a drink this big, I mean, you're out $50 right there automatically. Easily $50.
If I take my whole family, just tickets is going to run me $50-$60.
Absolutely.
Just to get in the door.
Yep. So I mean, you can forego that. You can go to Comcast and you can push a button and you pay $3.99, $4.99 for one movie, and the whole family's watching. You make your own damn popcorn,
Yeah.
And they can. The bottom line is they doubled down on their policy, which shocked me, because I think we're seeing, because of them and things like this, I think we're seeing the beginning of the end. I mean, not theaters in general, but there's going to be some transformation, because I don't see how they can economically sustain themselves with the backlash they had.
No, and it's both fortunate and unfortunate. I think the technology is certainly a disruptive force, just like the internet. I mean, everything is internet driven, and you're seeing the turning of upside down of almost every single business model there is. Music certainly has been destroyed, the old time music industry.
Sure.
You're seeing the movies being destroyed as well. Believe it or not, there haven't been that many blockbusters lately as compared to previous years.
Yeah.
But you're right. This time period during the year is one of their biggest profit times. The next one is Christmas time.
Yep.
And if you're right. This is the age of convenience. Unfortunately, as I wrote last night, it's the age of me. And if you're going to inconvenience me, just like you were sputtering coming in, because you haven't been here since they tore up the main street out here in Concord. I mean, it's just absolutely
You missed
nuts.
it when it was our side of the street.
Oh. The central planners doth not do well.
They have central planners at this Regal Cinema place too.
Have you noticed the 2-hour parking limit? One wonders how many of us would get tickets.
Yeah. But they, the cinemas. You're right. All it takes is a few percentage of people who say, "I'm no longer a customer," and there goes their profit margin.
Yeah.
How much for popcorn? $44.95.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing overall is these people that make these knee-jerk reactionary decisions, there's one small thing they're not looking at. For example, is they're seeking to maintain the status quo, i.e. the gun-free movie theater, the gun-free zone. The gun-free zone in America is not going to die easily. It's going to die kicking and screaming. At some point, we got to light it on fire.
Because it doesn't work and it's more dangerous.
Right. There is one common thread for all of these mass shootings, no matter where they were. They were gun-free zones.
I'd like to see...
There was no defenders there.
What I'd like to see is one cinema chain say, we welcome concealed carry owners.
Use judicious marksmanship, please.
Yeah. Aim carefully.
Yeah.
Well, actually, there have been a number of restaurants who have done exactly that. I mean, it was sort of a hit kind of deal where all the waitresses were open carrying. They said, exactly what you said. We welcome gun owners, open or concealed. Judicious aim is appreciated.
Yep.
And like we call ourselves, we are the safest podcast here in New Hampshire.
Yeah.
And we would be Regal's nightmare because we do carry either openly or concealed. But again, here's the deal. They're discriminating against lawful use. We all know the power of the weapons that we carry, open or concealed. We understand the ramifications if we actually had to use them. This is not... because
not use, just unholster.
Yeah.
The minute you do this, you are committing to a set of circumstances that are going to cause you an SHIT storm, because just touching it in a room full of people in the state of New Hampshire, of all places, is grounds for inviting the police to come and say you were threatening, you were all kinds of... I mean, you've really got to be in a circumstance where it's necessary before you draw your weapon.
Yeah, and we all understand that. We know that. We read about it all the time. Mm-hmm. We also know that the defense of gun use has prevented lots of stuff, regardless of what the anti-gunners have said. But we're treated as pariahs for simply using our constitutional rights.
It's an important aspect to point out. Like every now, I stopped wasting my time arguing with anti-gun people. You know why? because we've won, they've lost. That's the bottom line. If we go back to 1981, maybe 8 states had a concealed carry, some form of law that allowed for concealed carry. Today, 44, 45 states. And then you top onto that, 7 or 8 states are passing constitutional carry where you don't even have to get a license. Concealed, open carry, or what have you.
And more of those 44 than not have shall issue rather than may issue.
Right. And then on top of that, we had a 20-year period where purchase of and ownership of guns tripled while crime got cut more than in half. So, and then you have all the anti-gun groups spending all kinds of money for gun control. They outspend the pro-gun groups 7-1, and they still lose. What does that tell you? And then that Pew poll, that Pew Research poll that came out several months ago, even more people now believe that you're safer if you own a handgun in the home. And then finally, to top it all off, show me a nation anywhere around this globe, this crumbling rock, that has anything that resembles the Second Amendment of the U.S. Constitution. They don't. So when people say, "Well, Europe," no, don't talk about Europe. It's not a paradigm. It's not apples to orange. It's not apples to apples.
And they still have mass shooting and no way to prevent them.
Switzerland. Everybody says, "Oh, Switzerland, machine gun in the house." Switzerland has gun control. Switzerland doesn't have a Second Amendment. Okay, they still have laws about handguns and other guns. The whole gun in the home thing is all about how they defend themselves because they do not have a standing military.
Well, I have to ask you this, Rick, because, yes, a great deal of gain has been had because of the enforcement of the plain language of the Constitution.
Sure.
But then you go out to a place like Seattle.
Right.
Where they have just applied a $25 tax per gun. They have put, a nickel a round tax on all ammunition within the city limits. And they were expecting to raise $300,000 to be applied for anti-violence programs and, if somebody gets injured in such a gunfight.
Is everybody shopping outside the city?
Well, that's it. There was 2 gun stores in Seattle. They presented their economics, and they said, we will either be forced to either close up completely or we'll move outside of Seattle. You're not going to see this wealth of money coming in, and you're still going to have everything else.
Well, despite our victories and where we at culturally with guns, you're always going to have those municipalities run amok. Seattle, it's got to be one of the biggest moonbat capitals in the U.S.
Pretty close.
What good can be said about Seattle? A place where it rains all the time, has one of the highest suicide rates in the United States. I'd be depressed living in Seattle.
I know somebody who moved here from Seattle, and she was a teacher in Seattle a long time ago, and I asked her, I said, what's it like? I mean, what's the deal? She said it's always cloudy and rainy. She says, very depressing. She says people kill themselves all the time because it's just, there's no sun. It's not, and there, people are like, oh, well, it's the guns. No, it's the weather, damn it.
Yeah. Look at Kurt Cobain, guy with a wind tunnel where his head used to be.
Yeah.
I mean.
And he had some chemical assistance with regard to that, and he was trying to get around it's so sad here. But it is
one of the most miserable races on the planet are the Welsh.
Yeah, because they live
which is the left half of Great Britain, which is a bump that sticks out in the Irish Sea. It's mountainous, and like Ireland, it's kind of green because it rains all the freaking time. The hilltops are shrouded in clouds.
Yep.
As far as I know, even the sheep are miserable.
Yeah, they have that winter syndrome all year round.
Depressed sheep.
Yeah. Depressed sheep. Well, okay, wait. You have something important to ask, and we have to take a break, but on depressed sheep, I mean, how can we not go on a break on depressed sheep? Sheep. Slow down, Steve. Slow down. All right, we'll be right back. Stay tuned.
Hi, this is Rich Gerard, host of Gerard at Large in the Morning, the Manchester area's only locally owned, locally operated, focused, and interested riveting radio show heard live every Monday through Friday from 6 to 9 on 90.7 FM WLMW, New Hampshire Family Radio, and available 24/7 live or archived at GerardAtLarge.com. Be sure to tune in.
Rock Talk.